Hey everybody, it's January 27th. Do you know what that means? Bubble Wrap Appreciation Day. My favorite holiday in January. Okay, that's kind of a big claim to make. In honor of today's holiday, I'm going to pop bubble wrap whenever I say a number or mess up a take. Fortunately, I got a lot, so let's get going. My trip to Ohio was really fun. I was out there for about 3 days. I guess it was closer to 2.5 days. Two and a half. But I had a great time. It was my second time out there. So the area is still new to me, and I got to see a lot of new places, including COSI, which is this really cool interactive science museum. Not to be confused with COSI, the restaurant. Two different things. I wanted today's video to be lighter but still educational, so today I wanted to talk about this. Theater, not the textbook itself. Particularly in high school, I was really involved in theater, although I started way back in 4th grade. Just like in any other field, you adopt some of the lingo to help make things simpler, and I wanted to pass some of what I've learned on to you, particularly stage directions. We'll start with the stage and the house. Simply put, the stage is where the performers act, and the house is where the audience sits. Now, one of the first things you learn in theater is that you never have your back towards the audience, because this just looks and sounds bad. Also, this is where we get the phrase, to bring the house down, because it refers to a thunderous applause after a show. Next up is blocking directions. Blocking is when the director sits in the house and tells the performers on stage where to move when they say their lines. Now, since the director is facing the performers, saying something like go left can just be confusing. Go my left, go your left, hence stage directions. So there's two things we need to figure out. Moving left and right, and forward and backward. In North America and Britain, we have stage left and stage right, which is the perspective of standing on stage and looking at the house. You can also say prompt for stage left and opposite prompt for stage right. The prompt corner is where a stage manager will usually sit to help coordinate a performance and give lines if need be, and that's traditionally stage left. You can also use house left and house right, which is the perspective of sitting in the audience. If you're filming something, camera left and camera right mean the same thing. We also have to figure out when to move forward and backward. You might have heard of the terms upstage and downstage, but in modern theaters that might not automatically make sense. In Greek and Roman theaters, the stage was flat and the house was up a tier, similar to today. However, during the Middle Ages, theaters employed a raked stage, which is slanted down towards the audience. This was mainly done away with a century or so ago because actors would look like they're limping if they're just walking along the slope. But there was a point that going upstage was literally going up the slope and away from the audience, whereas downstage was doing the opposite. This is where upstaging someone comes from, because if you moved upstage, other performers would have to turn their back to the audience to talk to you, and then more attention would be directed solely at you. From here, we could look at charts like this one that break a stage into 9 quadrants, such as downstage, center, and upstage right, and those are often just abbreviated as DSC and USR. There you go, some basics with stage directions. If you ever find a script in your hand, you'll at least know where to stand. Why'd I put a rhyme in the script? If you have any questions about stage directions, feel free to put them in the comments below. In the meantime, I'm going to enjoy a little slice of 2014. See you next week.